Hi, this is
Hey,
Josh. Kind of bled over from radio into TV there at the end.
Y'all have no sound.
we see. Thank you, Dave.
Hey, welcome to WKGP Sasquatch and Shakespeare
Okay.
coming at you.
We should
6
have
in the
sound
morning
now.
every day. What?
We should have sound now. I just clicked properties and then canceled, and it clicked the sound on.
Okie dokie. Well, you let me know when you can hear the mellifluous tones of my voice. How about now? Good.
Let me try the stream and see if we have it.
I also just changed the overlay, so now it should be. Yep, we have sound.
Okay.
Good. Okay. So do we know what the last moment was where we left off?
I think we should just start. Just give us a quick overview of what's happened so far, and we'll get back into it.
Yeah, and then we rolled initiative.
Okay, so our intrepid heroes were launched from the bays of the overhead vessel. They fell to the earth with magnificent fire burning from beneath their feet, but only for a moment for Bobo. With quite a ways to go, Bobo's fire cuts back out, and you see him just fall like a rock the rest of the way, slam into the ground. He walks up to the biggest of the werewolves that he's surrounded by and just begins pummeling him in the chest. Just then you see Kamina coming down with a peal of smoke and fire beneath his feet. And just then the werewolf reaches back and you see him come down at you with a massive claw.
Wait, hold on.
Okay.
Is a werewolf attacking somebody anywhere near me?
He's attacking you, my man.
Okay, I spend 1 key point.
Okay.
When a creature. Oh no, never mind. Hold on. I can't say this yet. Tell me what happens.
Okay. So does a 20 hit you?
It does indeed.
It does. Okay. In that case, you take 21 points of damage
Youch.
as you see his claws rake across the. Are you still in your huge suit?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's going to be a pretty deep HP pool. You just let me know how many hit points of damage you've taken, and I'll explain how that's going to work a little bit later. But for now, the most convenient way to track it is you just tell me how much damage that suit has taken. Fair?
Oh, so I should not be keeping track of this on my character sheet.
Well, I mean, right now you've got 2 pools of hit points. This brings us to a significant point of, whatever in the game. You guys are in suits. Those suits have advantages and disadvantages. Right now you're fighting in them. Great time to be fighting in a suit. That hit point pool is separate from your body's hit point pool. I'll let you know if you and your body need to take that damage. I apologize. That was unclear and we hadn't really gone over this. So that damage is going to be taken to your suit. Sorry.
Okay, so I have 21 suit damage.
You got it.
No.
Yeah. And then you see a number of others kind of step around you and surround you. And suddenly you feel just a bunch of claws, like 8, 9, 10 claws and teeth just biting and shredding, ripping into you as you're completely surrounded by werewolves.
Do any of them miss?
Some of them do, but they don't all.
Does one of them miss?
Does a 19 hit you? Sorry, a 16 hit you?
A 16 does not hit me.
The last one misses you.
I use Tipsy Sway.
Okay.
this werewolf tries to hit me, but as a reaction, I can use a key point
Okay.
to cause that attack to hit one other creature of my choice.
Nice.
So
it's right next to the alpha.
yeah, so this one werewolf tries to hit me, and I like do the crazy drunkard sway thing
Nice.
and redirect that attack onto the one that I had been attacking.
Okay, very nice. Which is an incredible thing to see. This suit of a tree bend and sway. But this is one of the things that you do, is that you train in this suit to be able to, pull off these crazy weird moves. And the suit is alive, so the suit actually helps you. So it's a lot easier than trying to do it in an actual mechanical.
The swaying bending pine tree goes with my general drunkard style of.
That's true. It constantly looks like it's being whipped around in a storm. Like even when there's no wind, the leaves are just rustling.
But never breaking. Bend but do not break.
But never break. Well,
that's Bobo.
Right now, you hear the distinct cracking, rending, snapping, tearing sound of this suit being ripped apart. Kamina, you can see branches littering the ground all around him. Bobo, you can see a few in front of your feet. And while you can't feel what the suit is feeling, you know that, it's like a frog. What does a frog feel? Well, this is a nature elemental. What does a nature elemental feel? Not good things if it feels anything at all, to be honest, because it is now kind of seeping, oozing this kind of Icarus life. And you see that it is hurt bad. Like it's not good. These guys got a real solid round of damage in on it. Kamina, what do you do?
Kamina says to Bobo, "Hang in there, bro," and then addresses. This is my turn, right?
Oh yeah.
And how many werewolves are there?
Well, there's a huge alpha in front of him, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 around him. So there's 6 in total.
Yeah, so Kamina definitely would try to intimidate them.
Okay. Hang on one sec. The suit is going to do something. Nice. You see a bunch of the suit kind of coughs at a bunch of points all over, and you see this kind of yellow haze of stuff come out of the suit.
Okay.
Kamina, what are you doing?
Intimidating the easily intimidated werewolves, he's sure.
Very good.
Bobo, don't get discouraged. Use your fighting spirit. And as for you, you dog-faced mutts, lay down your weapons before you lay down your lives.
Nice.
Should I roll?
Roll.
This is intimidation. 27.
Okay. You see all of the camera zooms in, and you see all of the werewolves, their heads kind of go loose on their shoulders, and you see their pupils dilate, and then you see the vein in the side of their neck begins to go, and you see their pulses are all thumping, and they're all jittery, and they look panicked and horrified and terrified. And then you say, "Lay down your weapons," and your voice booms with the power to shatter glass from your suit, and you see them all just cower and hit the mud laying in the ground around Bobo.
And if I'm near enough to Bobo, I slap him on the back and said, "I knew we could do it, Bobo."
Thanks for the help, Kamina.
That's it.
You see these werewolves are beginning to like crawl and back away, and the alpha is backing away from you warily, and all the others are trying to pull around behind him.
Is it our turn? Whose turn is it?
It is your turn.
Kamina again?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Let's see. In that case, now I want to attempt to persuade them.
Okay.
Um,
You see, they have a few seconds to make a decision, and what they do is they pull back, and then you see them uh, you see the alpha. He tries to like pluck up his courage, and he tries to like rise up to you. You see him kind of inch just a couple of inches forward a couple of times, and he still is just kind of instinctively hanging back from you and is still wary. His teeth are peeled just a little bit, but only a little bit.
and Kamina's mech, meaning, Kamina, but his mech, puts his both hands on his hips and laughs. Ha ha ha! I like that fighting spirit. But the best thing you can do now is put that to the purposes of the Elven Empire. Join us, do as we say, and it'll be well worth your while.
You see the alpha. What language are you saying this in?
Common, I guess. Yeah, common.
Common? Okay, sure. Common. Just give me a sec.
And should I roll for that or not?
Okay. So you say all this to him, and you can see that he doesn't like snarl at you, but he's just kind of staring at you. Make me a perception check
Okie dokie. Let's see.
or an insight.
Those are the same for me.
Yeah. I think it's perception.
7, which sounds right for Kamina.
Can I help? Can I help with this? Can I help with this and give him advantage?
Sure, absolutely. How does Bobo help in this situation?
Bobo says, "Look at him, Kamina. Look at them. They're crawling around over there." I don't know what I say.
Okay.
I point out some salient feature of what's going on that maybe he didn't know.
Okay.
I rolled the same on both, so I still have a 7.
You back his play. You stand behind him and you back his play, and you rolled another 7. So you guys, the situation doesn't seem to be any better or any worse, but you don't see any sign of like response from the what.
Can I
what
roll
is it
for
that
the
you're-
perception? Can I roll for the persuasion?
Say again.
Am I supposed to roll for the persuasion? Should I roll for that or no?
I thought you did roll and you got like a high number.
That was my intimidation last time.
Oh, I apologize. You haven't rolled your I go for it. I apologize. I misheard then.
This turn
I'm
is
sorry.
my persuasion check.
Sure.
Because previously I was trying to get them to back off. Now I'm trying to persuade them to join, like be on our side or something.
The speech that you gave, yeah.
Yeah. Whoops. 24.
Okay.
I've decided that that Bobo does not actually speak Common. He is
Okay.
not very intelligent, and they taught Common in school.
Yeah.
But I speak Elven, and that's it. I don't
Okay.
understand what he's saying, and I can't help with this.
Okay, that's fair. Okay. You see that these werewolves, the alpha kind of rises up, and he doesn't like puff out his chest at you and get aggressive, but he does stand up completely straight, and he kind of looks at you, and you see his eyes. He has these just hyper crystal blue, magical silver blue eyes that pierce into you. And you sense a certain level of instinctive recognition, but you're not sure that he understands common.
Then Kamina is absolutely sure that he is completely influenced these werewolves to join, and so for his movement, which is the last part of his turn, he's going to walk over, stand next to the alpha, slap him on the back, and say to Bobo, "I knew we could do it. These guys were destined to be our friends." Standing shoulder to shoulder with the alpha.
As you walk over to the alpha,
Or, next to the alpha.
sure, as you walk over towards him, you get within his reach, melee-wise. Make me a diplomacy check.
What is a diplomacy check?
With advantage. You're a bard. You're in command of the situation.
Yeah, what's a
Oh, I
diplomacy?
apologize. We got rid of diplomacy as a skill. This would be...
Charisma?
I'm going to give you more than charisma on it. I'm going to give you...
Charisma plus proficiency?
Yeah.
I'm just guessing
Yeah.
things.
Persuasion. You can do persuasion for this.
Sure, with advantage.
Yes, with advantage as a bard
All right.
and given the situation.
All right. 30.
Nice. He rolled a 20 plus stuff, and you wanted him to roll high.
Aha.
You see at the last second, you're walking up to him, and in a second, you see his lips pull back, and you see his chest puff, and his arms instinctively come out to strike at you, and you see him kind of read you and kind of freeze for a second, and his lips uncurl, and he looks extremely skittish, like like a dog that's been abused. Like he like jerks quickly, but as you come around and slap him on the back, he he just kind of freezes, and you see all of the other werewolves. Bobo, make me an insight check, real easy.
This is I'm telling you though. Actually 18.
Go for it. Okay. You know that your friend is on the razor's edge of being torn apart by this pack of werewolves. He has just marched right into the middle of them and has used up all of his goodwill, and now he's freaked him out, and they're ready to.
So what I sense with insight is that the fight is about to start back up again.
It
Inevitably.
It could. No, not inevitably. With an 18, you just know that trouble is rebrewing.
And
say-
Kamina says in Elvish, "That's how it's done, Bobo. Remember, an enemy is just a friend you haven't yet made or killed."
Kamina, I think
What do you do next as he's talking?
Kamina, I think we have a problem. There's a problem. They seem like they're getting mad again.
No, not my friends.
Okay, and so does Kamina do anything?
He just stands there and starts to chat with the alpha. So,
Bobo,
how are things in Wolf?
the alpha took 3 good punches from Bobo, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Bobo is going to attempt. This is not going to work very well. But Bobo is going to attempt a sly intimidation check to say, like, this guy. Well, you know what?
To intimidate who?
Really,
Kamina?
no, not Kamina. The alpha, the werewolf. So, like, Kamina is the good cop, and I'm the bad cop here. And I'm going to try and pull the bad cop on him.
I'm going to put a shot clock up. Is this the plan?
I don't know. Go for
it. Yes, it's the plan. And I attempt intimidation at a score of 4 out of 20. Okay. And what this looks like is Bobo like raising his fists, but like the drunkard style means that it's very hard to tell whether Bobo is actually serious that he might start fighting again.
Okay.
So it does not seem to be a very credible threat, because Bobo I hiccup or something. I'm like, remember that I fought you and I was definitely gonna win. Hiccup. Like, oh.
And remember, Matt, on my persuasion roll, I rolled a 30.
Yeah. So he kind of the werewolf looks at you, and you see its eyes squint, and it looks over at Kamina, and its head kind of cocks like a German Shepherd does, and he kind of like flings his snout over at Bobo. And it kind of shakes its head. That's fair. And it kind of shakes its head, and it begins to back up away from you a little bit, putting a little bit of distance from you. And it kind of, once it gets about 10 feet away, it kind of jerks its head over to the side and makes a huff in a certain direction. And you see 2 of the smallest werewolves peel off back that way.
And
hey, Kamina, where do you think they're going?
I don't know. Probably to tell the rest of their wolf pack about the great new friends they made.
Don't we need to find out what the problem is in this place? Can't
Sure.
werewolves talk?
Just then, you see a real big, real heavy tortoise-looking thing come falling out of the sky, and you see it land, and it's on four legs, and you see it kind of open its mouth. Its head kind of tracks slowly with the two werewolves running off, and you see it open its mouth, and this enormous gout of electricity comes out, and you see the just the charred corpses of these two werewolves left there, and you see the alpha werewolf kind of just shoot right between the four werewolves that are left, and he makes some attack call, and they peel off after him, and they go to attack the tortoise.
Do we know the tortoise?
As they leave your... Yes, you know the tortoise. The tortoise is one of the big mechas. It's bigger than yours, either of yours. This is one of the big heavies. It's slow, it's ponderous, but it can do that. So
the fight has started back up.
the werewolves dart off. Do you guys do anything as they run away?
Kamina, it looks like they're attacking our friend.
Yeah, that's a unexpected turn. What can you do? So, any ideas what the trouble we're supposed to be looking out for is?
Just then you see another, and you see two more of the werewolf corpses just charred to a crisp. And now there's the alpha and two.
I feel like if we could have gotten the werewolves to say something about it, then we could have learned something. But I feel like that opportunity is quickly...
And you see two more werewolves die, and the alpha is there, and you see the alpha running and takes a giant flying leap and latches onto the face of this tortoise-looking thing.
He's a brave warrior.
You guys say as you see the head like kind of shake and flick the thing down to the ground, and you see the head go lunging down, and you hear and you see the head come back up, and well, that's the end of the werewolf. That's the end of him.
And Kamina says, well, I guess we got to look for this trouble we're supposed to find.
That seems right, Kamina.
So you see the hatch pops open, and hang on one sec. I'm just looking. I'm consulting here. Yeah. So you see a turtle, a tortoise-looking humanoid tortoise kind of thing, step out of this huge mech, and she actually looks kind of similar to it. So, Kamina, you're not the only one who looks at least somewhat like. Although for her, it's not one-to-one. It definitely looks like a mech. But she walks over towards you, and her name is Pearl. And she says, well, I guess that makes 57 for me. And she kind of begins cackling at you guys. And this gets under your skin, both of you, because neither of you have those numbers right now. Pearl is legitimately kicking your tails a little bit. And frankly, it's getting embarrassing and frustrating.
Pearl, I also want to have some victories in this battle. Tell us, where can we go to find enemies that you have not already defeated yet?
57, you'll get there, Pearl. I've got 112. And he's doing a performance of his shrewdness.
She shoots a wicked one eye at you and reads your soul.
Should I roll for performance?
No, you. Go ahead. Yeah, make me a roll. What's your deception check or performance or whatever? Yeah,
is 23.
Yeah. She's like,
Well, I didn't know you had so many extra
legs of campaigns to stand on.
Well, there's making corpses and there's making friends. You know how it is, Pearl.
I only have time for one of those things.
You'll
And
get
she's
better.
kind of looking around and she's kind of pointing a claw up over her shoulder as she's kind of trundling back over that direction. And she says, "You geniuses looked for tracks yet?"
No, I didn't think to, Pearl. I'm going to look for tracks now. And Bobo looks around for tracks. Should I give you a investigation check or a perception check?
So are you a ranger?
Survival check? Survival?
What class are you?
I'm a monk.
Okay. And so do you have anything that gives you the ability to track specifically?
No.
Okay. Then give me that check and let's make it a investigation check.
Okay. 16.
16 is good enough. With a 16, you might not be able to track an animal, but you're no dummy and you can read the road and you can see where this pack of werewolves came shooting down the trail. So you're at least able to get going in the right direction.
Hey, Kamina, that's where they came from. I'll bet that's where the problem is. Let's go.
Well, if that's where the problem is, that's where we're going.
And our intrepid heroes charge forward into the brush in their mech suits, in their personal armor, the suits behind.
Do I have any way of repairing my suit at all on the fly here?
So yes, one of the things that you're able to do is expend a key point and basically activate the healing process for the suit, and that would basically heal all the damage that was done to it, which was considerable. I mean, you can see tons and tons of branches that have been broken, and for the viewer, you begin to see and realize that a lot of those branches are there to absorb and soak hits and soak damage. And so the tree is able to kind of quickly, magically flush those branches back out.
So you see Bobo like draw out from like maybe some sort of saddlebag near his pilot's chair. He pulls out like one of those sort of double gourd looking canteens with a cork in the top, and he pulls it out and he duck, takes a drink and wipes his mouth, and you see the waves of energy come off of him, and the key flows out of him into the mech, allowing it to do this process.
It's almost as though there are giant invisible bells whose humming and subsonic frequencies are just bringing magic to everything, and you see these waves and ripples of energy coming up through the suit, and he's healed up. As you guys charge forward through the forest down this path, somebody is going to need to make me another investigation check when the road forks. And you see that there are game trails running in different directions, and it appears that you need to make a decision about which way these things ran.
Kamina, I don't understand what's going on, but the path forked here. Do you know how to figure out which way to go?
We'll go right.
Excellent. You guys charge off to the right down the fork, and as you travel along the path, it opens out into a kind of a mountaintop or a hilltop that slopes down to a valley, and scattered throughout the field, you see what looks like maybe a dozen werewolves. And down at the bottom of the valley, you see a cart being pulled, and it looks like it is full of stone, and it's being pulled by what looks like some very large creatures with some very smaller folk tending to those creatures, but it's hard to tell if those are Goliaths and those are elephants pulling the carts and those are massive blocks of stone, or those halflings and goats and little bricks in the back. And it's dark, so anybody who wants to start trying to use your skills and abilities and anything to move the situation forward, let me know what you want to do. But that is the scene before you.
Bobo, I bet that's where we need to be. Let's go. And Kamina runs into the valley.
Yeah, sure. I run into the valley. I don't. It doesn't seem like some people who are hauling stone would cause so many deaths by hauling stone that they would need to call in the Aufblitzen. So I don't think they're a problem, and I'm happy to go right past them down into the valley.
Okay, so you guys charge forward into and down the field. So as you're running, you're going to eventually run within like 20 feet of a werewolf that's standing there in the field, a little bit surprised. And what's the play? You're just running in a line no matter what happens?
No, I'm gonna say to the guy, "Hey, dog man, where's the trouble? We've come to help."
You see the werewolf look at all the others, and you see them just kind of as one begin to collapse on you guys and just begin running at you.
Wait, so these were all werewolves, and we didn't even notice until we came like within ambush distance of them?
He said there was some in the valley.
You see a field full of werewolves.
Yeah, I didn't hear that at all.
A valley full of werewolves.
I thought that I saw some gnomes driving some elephants with blocks.
We saw those and the werewolves.
I didn't.
Sorry,
I didn't hear about the werewolves.
Okay, sorry. I need to slow down a little bit more and repeat myself. You come out of the woods,
very
and
foolhardy.
You erupt out of the woods into a field that slopes downward to a valley floor. Okay. Throughout this grassy field, you see a lot of werewolves. They're just kind of scattered throughout. And you see along the path a cart, object, beasts of burden, humanoids, but it's in the distance. Okay. Kamina said, charge forward through the field.
I say, Kamina, those are a whole lot of werewolves. Are you sure?
And you hear Pearl's voice over your shoulder say, I got him. Looks like you boys aren't as concerned with your numbers as I thought you were. Boom! And you see a werewolf running at Kamina is just reduced to ash.
And Kamina doesn't even hear Bobo's question. He is confident. So
roll for initiative.
Yeah.
Bobo says to Kamina, we don't need to worry about killing them. Wait, what would Bobo say? Bobo would say, Kamina, we should try and ask them questions. Pearl can handle killing them.
Great. That's what I was doing. Kamina's not running in to attack. He's running in to figure out what the trouble is.
Okay, great. So 17 plus 3 is going to be an initiative of 20 for Bobo.
And
all right.
18 for me.
Okay. Well, sorry about that. Well, that's why.
So this time in my mech, Bobo is going to pick the smallest one that I can see within my movement speed, which is 50 feet.
Bobo, was yours up in the 20s?
20, yeah.
Okay. And then Kamina, yours was what, 18, 19? Sir Robert?
Yeah, 18.
Okay, good. Okay. You see the caravan down at the bottom of the valley seems to halt for a second. A bunch of werewolves, as a bunch of werewolves howl all at once, and then you see a bunch of them begin darting in different directions. Some of them seem to be running at Pearl. In fact, full half of them. A few of them are running at Kamina. A few are running at Bobo, and a few seem to be darting off in the direction that the caravan is traveling. And that's what they're doing. They're going to take their turn moving. And Kamina, what do you do?
Werewolves can talk, right? I thought that I was first. I have a 20.
I apologize. I thought you said you were 18. Okay.
I'm 18. No, 20.
Okay.
Yep. So Can werewolves talk? Can they speak a language? They can.
They can.
Okay.
The one that you were encountering previously did not seem, for some reason, to understand common.
Great. So, so Bobo is going to find the smallest one that's near him, and I'm going to run up to it and tackle it and attempt to grab it and restrain it.
Okay. So you're going to need to
So that's going to
successfully.
be
Go ahead.
like a contested athletics check with it.
Yeah, I just need you to successfully attack him. Just get a successful touch attack on him, and then you can grapple. Well, actually,
that's even better. $19.
Okay. So you reach out and you just clasp your literal tree trunk arms around this guy.
Yep.
Are you wanting to do any damage to him in the form of crushing, bludgeoning damage?
No, I just want to pick it up and restrain it.
Okay, you've got your werewolf in your arms.
Do I have any movement left that I can drag
it? You would have had to have moved to get into position to do that because it wasn't coming to you.
Right.
You've still got, we'll say you've still got 10 feet to move.
So I want to move. My objective is to move into Pearl's shadow so that when she's shooting at werewolves, she won't be shooting at me, but she'll be defending me from them as I try and deal with this one.
Okay. In that case, make me a, because you've still got a little bit of your movement left, you've made your attack. I'll let you do something on your next turn. Okay. So that was Bobo. Kamina.
There's one you said running at me, or more than one?
Yes, there are two running at you.
Great. Kamina stands firmly and says, "What's going on in this valley?" He's interrogating them, getting some information.
The werewolves?
Yeah.
Okay. Make me a persuasion check or intimidation, your choice.
Let's do persuasion because there's no sign yet that they're enemies.
Okay.
Besides that, Pearl is vaporizing them.
That's on Pearl, not them. Maybe they're of goodwill.
Yeah, you can see Pearl has maybe a slightly different, maybe kind of philosophy of diplomacy.
That's what it seems like. Persuasion check. 28.
Okay.
It's plus 15.
Sure. The one of the werewolves. Hang on, let me make the check. Okay. One of the werewolves in a dialect of common that actually is extremely intelligible to you says, "We protect the shipments." And he, goes charging forward at you to attack you.
Okay. Is that I guess that action and listening to that is my action, right?
Yeah, you wanted to try to make a diplomacy oriented action. So standard action. If you have a bonus action or a reaction, you're more than welcome to use those.
Let me look real quickly. No, I'm good.
Okay. So he says, "We protect the shipments," and he kind of charges forward at you. Does a... Oh, gosh. Yeah. Does a 15 hit your AC?
No.
Nope. Okay. In that case... Yeah. You see this guy just rake his two claws over your suit, and they just glide right off. He doesn't even leave gouges in the paint or anything. And then you see him get frustrated, and he lunges forward and he sinks his teeth into one of the joints, and you feel a crunch, and you feel your suit take a considerable amount of damage as his jaws close around this joint of the shoulder.
Okay. How much damage, or do I need to be aware of that?
15.
I'm sure I've got some way of writing that down. Okay. I will. Oh, here it is.
Bobo, you've got some werewolves running at you. Make me a athletics check or a stealth check to try to use cover to protect yourself.
Oh, this is definitely stealth.
Okay.
14.
14 does something. You manage to kind of spot a couple of trees and a couple of boulders that you're able to kind of put in their way to slow them down, make them go over uneven terrain and lose some of their speed while you just kind of trod forward. As your feet hit the ground, you see these roots, like for a split second, kind of shoot out, and they literally, like for a split second, magically just tendril their way into the earth. So sometimes you're kind of running along a boulder at like a 30-degree angle, and it's like the world is just like this for you. You're just kind of magically running along at an angle. So you're able to get some distance between you and them, and you see Pearl fire over your shoulder, and one of them just vaporizes behind you. Kamina, it is your turn.
Kamina casts.
I apologize. Give me just one sec. And your suit takes another 15 points of damage as this thing takes its mouth and just Kamina bites into your nature suit. Kamina, your nature suit needs to take 15 points of damage.
Got it.
Sorry. I'm saying Kamina over and over again, and I mean Bobo, and I'm staring at my face. I'm so sorry. Bobo, your suit with the werewolf that you're grappling, that guy bites your tree suit. So that was Bobo's turn. Kamina, now it's your turn. I apologize.
Yeah, no problem. As an action, I believe. I think I can just do it as an action. I don't think it has to be a spell. I can...
Go for it. We're on a one shot. Do something cool.
Great. No. Okay, no, I think it does have to be a spell. So I cast Mordenkainen's Sword.
Nice. And to what effect do you wish to cast this spell?
Say it again.
What does it look like when you do that?
So create a sword-shaped plane of force that hovers within range, lasts for the duration. Basically, Kamina waves his sword around, and out of the top of his sword, a sword starts glowing, and out of the top of it, it appears as though the sword just gets really long.
Nice.
Like the sword's blade is long, and he kind of swings it around, and the top of the blade kind of flies off and starts floating around.
Nice. I love it.
That's a spell I can cast, which means it's a bard spell.
Okay.
And I have...
That might be the coolest spell I've ever heard of. I really like that.
Yeah,
I've never heard of it
before. Basically, I have also the ability to battle magic. When I used my action to cast a spell, a bard spell, I can make one weapon attack as a bonus action.
Do it.
So,
bonus
attack. Does an 18 hit?
Yes.
All right, and I do 13 damage.
Okay.
And give me 1 second. That is about somebody else.
If you forgot anything, we will feel free to interrupt me, and you can do it. Interrupt away. So that werewolf that's in front of Kamina attacks at him. Come on. And holy mackerel, he just kind of, his arms are just kind of flailing wildly. His teeth are can't make purchase. He's just struggling and flailing. There's another werewolf that's chasing after you, Bobo, and it is leapt up in the air, and its jaws are open, and it's about to pounce on you, and you see it just vaporized out of the air. Yeah. And you see Pearl pop out of the bottom, and she looks at you and says, "Doesn't really seem like you're that interested in putting the numbers on the board there, son." And she kind of gives you a sharp little poke on your little place on your forearm where there's a number of tick marks and notches for enemies that you've killed. So you've got a werewolf that is restrained and you're holding on to it for a while. What do you want to do with it?
Do I seem to me to be in a place where Pearl can effectively keep me from having to fight more werewolves?
Oh, yeah. Pearl has just been looking around this open field and doing what she does best and just doing target practice in an open field. I mean, it's a logistical, tactical nightmare for the werewolves.
Awesome. So what I presume that I can get my sort of biomech to wrap its branches really thoroughly around this werewolf and just hold it.
Yeah, this guy's not going anywhere. You've literally got him entombed in like a case. Like vines have grown around him.
I've got branches imprisoning him like in a cage.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to like power down and climb out.
Sure. And you don't have to power down. The thing's alive. I mean, it's literally a nature elemental. So
I patted on whatever part I patted on to be like, good job. You did good. Stay in this position until I get back.
Right.
So it's not going to go and do anything. I want it to stay still to keep it imprisoned. And I climb out onto the branches like I climb out on one arm or something.
You see a giant spider, a spider like this big, crawl out of some nook or cranny, and you see it begin spraying webbing in the face of the werewolf, and it begins like running around him, like spraying stuff around his mouth.
Is this spider my friend? Do I know this spider?
Yeah, the spider is basically like your assistant guardian. Like this spider is keeping an eye on the suit. It's like the suit's pet. It's not really your pet. It's the suit's pet. Anyway.
Okay. Yeah. So I climb out there, and I mean, if the battle's going on, climbing out and shutting down and stuff might be my whole turn. But if I can do something else, what I'd like to do is to address the werewolf in Elvish, which is the only language I know.
Yeah, sure. I mean, we're out of combat. You guys, Kamina stay Kamina, or does he step out and be just Kamina?
Well, even stepping out, he would never be just Kamina. But yeah, he'll get out of. He'll climb out. Sure, why not?
Like, the words coming out of my mouth, I was like, stupid thing. Oh, too late.
Yeah. He'll hop out.
Okay.
So
you guys are standing around. Bobo, what do you say to it?
I say to it, well, first I try and call to Kamina. I say, hey, Kamina.
He's right there next to you.
Oh, great. Awesome. I say, hey, Kamina, I'm going to ask it what's going on. And I say to the werewolf, hey, werewolf, what's going on? What's the problem in this place?
And you say this in Elven?
Yes.
Okay. Let me make a roll. Interesting. The werewolf's eyes just kind of narrow, and it tries to huff at you and snarl at you, but it basically has effectively a muzzle around its mouth at this point, and it can't really get work its mouth open enough to snarl and bark at you.
Wait, okay. So what I want to do is I want to climb back in my mech, and I want to open up the cage so that it's wide enough that he can't get out, but not so much that it's gripping him so tightly that he can't even speak or move.
Oh, that's because there's now spider webbing over his mouth. It's not the roots or the tendrils. The spider has
in that case
running over his mouth.
I want to communicate with the spider in whatever way I can that says, hey, please don't do that. I want to talk to this.
You can like shoo it away, and the spider like skitters away.
I shoo the spider away, say, thanks, buddy, but I want to actually talk to this one, and then I start clearing the webbing away from its face.
Okay, make me a dexterity saving throw with advantage.
Okay. So that's going to be 24.
Okay. Yeah, you snatch the webbing away and peel it off of the mouth of a werewolf.
Yeah.
And you just snatch your hand away like it's no big deal. I just want to point out,
I know
you're treating decobbing the muzzle of a werewolf like the owner of a chihuahua taking away an inappropriate treat.
Yes, that's precisely what Bobo is doing. Precisely. And then Bobo says, hey, Mr. Werewolf.
Make me a performance check.
What am I performing?
Sorry.
Real
quick.
Performance
check. Just real quick. Yeah, Kamina, sure. Help him. Give him advantage. You're in the presence of a bard. Come on. I just want to see how cool this is. Real cool. Is it above 10?
19.
19. Yeah, you reach up and you're like, oh, a little baby has some cobweb on his mouth, and you're like swatting at it, and your hand is like going in there like a kung fu, viper strike, and like pulling the stuff off. And he's like trying to snarl and bite at your hand. You're just playing with him, just toying with him.
All right. His mouth is like one of those wooden posts with the beam on it that you have to hit in kung fu in all sorts of different ways. Yeah.
So the werewolf's mouth is just slavering and snapping, and you're just kind of playing with him. And you see him, his voice erupt. He erupts with frustration, and he slavers at you in this language. It's kind of what you're able to make out. Does anybody have any kind of magic ability that lets you understand languages or anything like that?
I understand Common, Deep Speech, and Elvish, and this might do it. Hold on, let me check.
I can talk to it at a distance by means of message, but I think that I can probably still only speak the language that I can speak. But I could speak it directly into his head, but I wanted to talk mouth to mouth.
Sure.
Plus, I want Kamina to be able to talk to him as well.
Sure.
Or her.
I have...
so you said you have deep speech, though?
Charm, Monster, and Deep Speech.
Yeah, if you've got deep speech, you recognize deep speech, and he basically says, let go of me. This shame is too much to bear. I have to rejoin my pack to protect the caravan.
Okay, and then in that case, I want to.
That's what you gather from that's a much coherent narrative than what's actually being communicated, but that's what you gather.
Right. I think I want to cast Charm Monster.
Okay, do it. What's your DC to save against? What's the difficulty class of your spell?
It says, sorry, I gotta click it. That's Cure Wounds. Where is it? Charm Monster. There we go. Wiz 18.
Okay. You see him just go limp as a noodle, cooked noodle. And he is just kind of putty in the cocoon.
Hey, what's going on in this valley? I say in Deep Speech.
The shipments must go through.
Shipments of what?
Protect them. Stone.
Really?
Wood, stone and stone. The little smelly ones bring it in.
What's the stone for?
To build.
And you see his eyes kind of roll a little bit. Everybody make me a perception check.
Okay.
Here comes one perception check. That's going to be 17, buddy.
7 for me.
Okay. Bobo, you notice that from this moment on, there's a change in him. And yeah, Kamina, you're talking to him?
Yeah, where's the stone going? Where are y'all taking it?
Oh, the stone goes where it must be used to build, where the edifice must be raised.
And you see this werewolf, you hear in his voice something much more human. Excuse me. And just then, you guys see in a kind of copse of boulders just to the side, you see a raven alight on one of those boulders, and it gives a loud caw. And make me a nature check.
Okie dokie.
Oh, here comes a nature check. Oh, natural 20. That's going to be a 21. I'm really well
Okay.
tonight.
You really are.
What? And what was yours, Kamina?
12.
Sorry. What was yours, Kamina?
12.
12. Okay. Bobo, you recognize that this raven is like unnaturally big, and I'm going to make me a Arcana check. Because you rolled so high, you've got the opportunity to make this check. Do you know what your Bobo? Do you know what your Matt Talmini Bobo? Do you know what your Arcana check is?
Wait, I'm sorry. Arcana check?
Yeah, this raven appears to be unnaturally large.
7. Although Bobo probably wouldn't consider the magical aspect of things, but I'm willing to at a roll of 7.
Okay, yeah. You're like, boy, that's a big bird. Just real big. Okay. And you see a figure kind of stepping around the side of the boulder, and he appears to have a lantern and some sort of kind of sketchbook in a hand. And you see a little quill kind of sticking up out of it. And you see that he's got the lantern hanging from that arm. And with the other hand, you see he's got like a tool or something. And he's walking.
I'm sorry, I missed part of that. Who is this?
He's just some random guy in the middle of a field, apparently also full of werewolves, with a raven and a bullseye lantern and what looks to be like maybe a magnifying glass or a stylus or something. But he looks like he's got a notebook and a lantern and some sort of tool, and he's walking around the boulder looking at, and he doesn't seem to notice this raven that's on top of the boulder right next to him.
I'm not concerned with, I don't know. I notice these things, and then my attention goes back onto Kamina, who's interrogating our werewolf prisoner.
Sure.
And does Kamina notice the guy?
Make me a perception check.
Okie dokie. Oh, a natural 20, so 24.
Absolutely. You notice him in great detail and are fully aware of him, and feel free in role play to respond to him as though you have a very clearly thought out plan of engagement.
Yeah, Kamina sees him and immediately strides over to him and says, "Hey there, just the person I was looking for. These crazy dog faces don't really speak very well, but I hope you could tell me maybe what's going on in this valley. What's all this stone for?"
Oh, clearly this was used in the time of the great dwarven empires. Do you not see?
And he points at these, what look to be like hieroglyphs or petroglyphs on the stone. And you see images of dwarves cracking whips. And you can see what look like dogmen and stuff, and dogs, and what clearly look like dogmen pulling stones and interwoven and whatnot. And the raven overhead caws again really loudly, and as that caw throbs in your ears, everybody make me a Constitution saving throw.
Oh, ouch.
Sorry, real quickly, before you make your con saving throw.
I'm sorry, I apologize. Wisdom saving throw.
Okay.
Sorry.
Before you make your whiz saving throw, there's a. Oh no, I didn't give you bardic inspiration, so never mind.
All right. That's going to be a straight 10.
And for me, it is a 9.
Excellent. Both. Wow. Okay. Sorry, I've got a D&D pup that really wants to get his first DM credit, so he's apparently going to be joining me for part of this. So both of you gentlemen find yourselves just absolutely enraptured and fascinated by these hieroglyphs. And as you stand there and stare at them, you see the valley around you. You see everything begins to run in reverse. You see the sun go up and down. And if you were clever enough, you would recognize it's moving backwards. And you see the stars moving incredibly rapidly, seething in the night sky, and the world blurs, and you're only barely able to perceive that time is passing around you because the plants and the landscape are all shifting and boiling and flickering in and out of existence at an incredible speed. And you see it, it kind of slows, and you look and you blink your eyes and you see dwarves around you. You see dwarves that have made a road that is 40 feet wide that goes through this valley floor. And you see it has since been filled with an incredible amount of earth and grass and whatnot. But down at the bottom of the valley is this thoroughfare. And you look up and you see in the distance a city, a dwarven city. Let me make a check here. Okay. Bobo, Kamina, what do you do?
I've just been transported through like time and space by magical means.
Not space.
Yeah. Time.
I don't know what's just happened. I'm very dumb. I look around for Kamina.
That's okay. So
do I see Kamina?
Looking around. Kamina, do you do anything?
I see dwarves around.
Yes.
Yeah, if there's one nearby, maybe.
So yeah, sure. There's some that seem to be about 120 feet away.
Okay. Yeah. So Kamina kind of walks towards him and say, "Hey, little tiny people."
So just as you go to stride forward, you kind of step out. You just kind of run headfirst into the rock, into the boulder, and you take 3 points of damage to the suit, which is not much. It just kind of soaks it. And the figure who was there with the raven has disappeared. And you look over and you see that the place where the kind of cocoon had formed on your suit, it has just been ripped open. And it's just kind of this open hanging, pocket on the outside of your suit, which is just kind of standing there. And you guys find yourselves alone in the field. And that is where we will come back to you. But for now, for at least the next 10 minutes, we shall away and adjourn. That people might do the things that they need to do for 10 minutes in the midst of a D&D session.
Okay.
Welcome back to the Starfall Collective Interlude, Aufblitzen, Episode 1. When last we left our heroes, they were feeling a bit overwhelmed by the series of bizarre incidents and bizarre entities before them. They were sucked into some sort of bizarre magical effect that made them see, whether real or illusion, the world as it was many, many millennia ago. Back to the present, they snap forward with Kamina quite literally charging forward into the boulder that he was unaware of in front of him. And as Kamina snaps back and rubs his forehead, Bobo looks down the hill and sees a figure wandering around in the road, near the place where the road enters into the woods, a good few hundred feet away from you. It is dusk. The sun is down. There's some amount of ambient light, but not much.
Bobo looks around for Kamina.
Kamina is next to him, a few feet away.
Bobo says, Kamina, what just happened?
I don't know, but it was pretty great.
It was scary. I was scared.
Oh, well, don't be afraid. Let your fighting spirit well up inside.
Okay, I'll try. And Bobo, stays there and sort of works on his fighting spirit a little bit.
Kamina, make me a perception check.
21.
You also notice the disheveled figure in the roadway at the mouth of where the road enters into the woods a few hundred feet away from you.
Kamina wants to jog over to him.
Okay. Bobo, do you follow?
Yes, obviously, of course. I certainly follow where Kamina goes.
Pearl looks at you and says, what's the call? I can cover better from up here.
Just talking with a friend.
She kind of nods. The head nods. You've been hearing her voice directly in your head. You guys can all hear directly. You're mind linked. You've got.
Well, I can message Pearl with a cantrip.
And the helmet also. That's one of the things that the helmet does. Oh. It's giving you linked telepathy. So if you want a message, you can use it with anyone outside of your party. But when you're in a small fighting group like you, Pearl, and Kamina, the three of you can communicate to each other directly using the helmets. I've been effectively doing that previously with Pearl saying things and you guys hearing her in the heat of combat and stuff. That's why. Again, sorry. A lot of details, and I'm trying not to be exposition heavy.
I thought she just had a very loud voice.
Yeah. Right. Anyway, so Pearl stays at the top of the hill. You two charge forward. And as you get closer, you see what looks like a human with a kind of scraggly, patchy beard, clothes that appear filthy and torn. And he doesn't look like he's in full control of himself physically or mentally. He's walking around, but he seems to be kind of staggering a bit. And you see his head kind of whipping around from side to side, but not intelligently looking at particular threats, just kind of flailing around. He doesn't appear to know where he is, and he appears to be in a great deal of confusion and angst.
Kamina, are you okay?
And you see him say,
so long in the starlight, so long in the open.
And he just seems to be muttering about starlight and open over and over again.
Does he seem to be hurt at all?
You don't see any visible wounds on him, no. No blood. He doesn't seem to be favoring an arm or a leg or a body part that was hurt. He just seems to be mad.
Okay. In that case, I want to cast Detect Thoughts.
Okay. Make me a wisdom saving throw.
Okie dokie. Natural 20.
Okay. With a natural 20, you lock, you elbow your way in and brace yourself against the onslaught of way more mental power than a helpless, semi-helpless, crazy person should be able to muster. In fact, it's like going to shake the hand of one person and finding yourself shaking the hand of a giant squid, not a kraken, but something really big. And you, with a 20, hang on one sec. Let me take this. Yeah. What did you say your DC was?
My DC?
Yeah, was it like 18 or something?
With
it was
18, yeah.
Yeah. You feel this wave of shock as you. Okay, so I'll try to describe this with a word picture. It's like you step out into a choppy sea, and in this particular area where you see and feel the thoughts all around you of just mad confusion, and there are thoughts just whipping by insanely. And it's very difficult to hone in on a real thread of thought, but you get the impression that this guy is terrified by starlight and open space, and seems to have just been driven insane by just starlight and open space, if he's still talking about the things that drove him crazy. And moving on from there, you hear the thoughts of a child. You hear a child's voice saying,
"Oh, he shouldn't be in here. This is very naughty. Oh, we'll have to play a game with him where..."
And you hear the child's voice fade away, and you hear the voice of that scholar that you saw before at the rock. And you hear him say, "How very curious. My goodness, this warrants further study. Oh, but now who is studying who?" And the voice kind of morphs, and it's this hollow, booming voice of an outsider, some sort of celestial entity, something speaking from beyond this plane. And it says, "Who dares behold the one who beholds?" And you hear another voice that is deep and sinister, and it seems to be muttering to itself about all of the ways that it can snare you and string you up and do terrible things that we won't get into because of the rating of this podcast. But it's a truly vicious, predatory voice. And then you hear the most epic, insane, mad cackle of this booming, mad, drunk on power kind of voice. And you hear it exult, and it says, "Yes, finally, worthiness." And you hear the thought kind of echo away, and you come to the end of this train of thought.
Okay. That is interesting. Let's see. Sorry, 1 second. I'm just trying to read. Wisdom saving throw. It fails. You gain insight into its reasoning, if any. Emotional state. Something that looms large in its mind. Okay. Well, that was very interesting. Kamina says to Bobo, "That man is not right. Not right in the head."
He sure looks like it, Kamina.
Well, I don't know what's going on here, but I think that guy is causing some trouble. Some of the things I just was... Go ahead.
Go ahead. Some of those things.
I was looking at some of the things, some of the pages, some what he had written on the pages of his mind, and boy, was it confusing, but some of it was mean. That's it. That's what I say to Bobo.
And, just as you say that, as you're finishing that sentence, you see him kind of whip his head over to one side, and it's as though he sees something terrifying off in the distance, 30 degrees up into the horizon, and he turns and bolts and runs into the forest.
I catch him.
Make me an athletics check to run this guy down. Do it with advantage.
I will also run after him. Should I do the same?
Sure.
Okay. Wow, that was a really terrible roll. Well, whatever, it helped, but 16.
14.
Okay, between a 16 and a 14, this guy now has two enormous mechs right there reaching.
No. Whoa.
Okay.
I'm not in my mech.
Oh, you stepped out. You're just running out.
My mech is currently imprisoning a
werewolf.
That's right. You're out.
I'm out of it. Yeah, I don't know.
After the guy.
And I jumped out when Bobo jumped out.
That's right. So you guys are both on his heels right there. You've caught up with him. You see him basically dive forward, and you see this pit open up in the ground as he's in the air. And you see him fall into this pit. You have a split second to act. What do you do?
Jump in.
Kamina has jumped in after the guy. What do you do?
I grab it. I attempt to grab anything that I can hold on to that's outside of the pit, and then also grab onto Kamina.
And Kamina is not jumping in feet first. He's leaping in with a flying leap after the guy.
I'm grabbing at Kamina's foot.
Okay, so Bobo has grabbed a hold of Kamina's foot and has jumped after him, and you guys disappear.
I'm grabbing onto something on the outside if I can find it.
You're on an open road. Roll me a.
I grab onto the edge of the pit.
So the pit that has opened has a kind of a magical portal to the edge of it. So you would be grabbing at the edge of a portal.
Yes. Okay.
Make me a Arcana check with advantage, DC 10.
Okay.
Does Kamina need to do anything right now?
Nope. Okay. You're good. You've committed to a course of action that does not require further rolls.
Great.
16.
16. You know that if you try to grab that pit with your fingers, it'll slice your fingers off. Adamantine, crystals and all.
I am not... I'm
shot clock.
Trying to dig my hand into the road on the side.
Okay.
And trying to, while grabbing the side without touching this very sharp portal, I'm reaching down to try and grab Kamina.
Okay.
I'm not jumping down.
Sure.
I've got some sort of grip on the outside.
Sure.
On the road outside, and then trying to grab for Kamina's ankle.
All right. You flex your hand, and you see out from your hand erupts this T-bar of wood, and you basically T-bar yourself at the aperture of the portal, and you reach.
Oh, right. I've got a I've got a
nature element.
No, I've got a quarter staff.
Yeah, you've got a quarter staff, and you can use that. I'm describing as though you're in the mech, and I keep forgetting because I'm a bad DM. Yes,
I've got a quarter staff. I brace the quarter staff on the staff, and I hang from that, and I grab at Kamina's foot.
Sure, you made a good enough check, so yes, you can do that. So make me a athletics check to snatch Kamina out of the air.
Here it is. 22. 18 plus 4.
You now have a hold of Kamina, and you see above you that the portal is beginning to close.
I say, Kamina, this portal is really scary.
Yet.
Kamina, don't jump down this portal. Let's get out of here.
I am getting out of here. This way.
Kamina, what do? You've got a split second. Do you break the hold and dive after the guy? Because it feels like if you let go, you will fall after him.
No, I think I try to wiggle us both in.
Okay.
Not trying to kick free, because he's got my ankle, right? And I'm hanging down.
Sure.
But
make me
more like trying to shake us all. Say it again.
Make me an opposed athletics check.
How do I do that?
You make an roll and you roll too.
He will make one. You guys let me know how you do.
Deal.
Ooh.
Somebody rolled a 20.
Yes, I rolled a natural 20 plus 4 is 24.
And Kamina?
I have got a 23.
Oh! Gosh. Okay. So, Kamina, you do an incredible and admirable job of trying to shake the two of you free, and it almost works. But you see Bobo's iron resolve has him just gripped literally to the T of the handle.
I'm like, Kamina, come back up.
And the aperture is closing. You've got a split second to do something. It is now...
I hurl Kamina up out of the pit if I can.
Okay. Make me an athletics check to do so. Kamina, I imagine you don't want this to happen, so you feel free to oppose this or allow it to happen. Somebody's about to try to throw you.
Kamina just strokes his chin and thinks, why didn't that work? As he's being flung.
Okay.
16. It's a 16.
Okay, so if he's just thinking, then you effectively fling him and then make me a difficult saving throw to pull yourself up out of this hole before it closes around you. It's moving fast, and it's not going to be...
Tell me it's a strength or a dexterity saving throw.
It is, in fact. It can be either a strength saving throw or an athletics check, but you need to effectively one-arm pull up yourself out of this thing.
I would love a strength saving throw.
Were you not a monk, this would be impossible.
It's a 18.
An 18. Holy mother of pearl. You pull yourself out of this thing and you literally just do the world's most righteous curl and one arm push yourself out at speed. Like you push yourself up with enough velocity to like arc up and out and land like a fish diving up out of, an ice hole, an ice fishing hole. And it closes around your feet and your butt puckers because you realize you were this close to literally being sliced in half by a portal. But you find yourselves laying on the dirt, mixed dirt and gravel and exposed roots of the path. Excuse me. And as you lay there, somebody roll me a d6.
4.
4. You see standing deep in the forest at a point where the trees have completely grown over the path, you see this just shining figure standing there that appears to be about 7 feet tall, and they appear to have just kind of over-exaggerated features, like an extra long neck, an extra tall head, extra long arms and legs and fingers and everything. They just look weird, like some sort of outsider or something. They don't look like a human or any humanoid that you know of. Anybody who wants to roll me a knowledge check as a bard or anything like that, you let me know. But
is that history?
What's that?
You mean history?
Yeah, you could do like some sort of bardic lore. You could do history, anything like that.
Nah.
I'm pretty good at history.
Okay.
It says, that guy looks almost as impressive as me.
Kamina thinks back and ends up with a 23 in his history check to think about who could this possibly be?
Bobo, you mean?
I'm sorry, Bobo.
Did your character do that? Or you said... Okay.
No, sorry. I
the problem with
misspoke.
one shots. Everybody...
Bobo.
That's okay.
Bobo thinks back and gets a 23 in his history check.
With a 23, you realize that this is kind of a classic representation, or at least it fits the bill, of a kind of some sort of outsider who maybe like represents an entity. Like it's this just kind of weird, amorphous humanoid shining shape, right? And with a 23, and weirder things have happened today. This appears to be some sort of avatar type figure, right?
I approach it and I say,
an outside horror of a particularly powerful magic user or whatever, but things that are of a certain class of power can project an avatar. And this seems to, like a Patronus in the J.K. Rowling magic world, this seems to be a generic avatar.
So I approach the entity and I say, "Pray, strange vision, what god dost thou represent?"
You do well to call me a god.
And this voice kind of washes over you with this kind of creepy, narcissistic kind of like you feel icky for hearing its voice. Like it is not good.
I have a lore question about the Aufblitzen. We've established that that religion is central to the administration of the Elven Empire. Which god's department would you say the Aufblitzen comes under?
The Aufblitzen is under the Elven Empire, which means that any member of the in good standing pantheon is available. At this point, you could even theoretically worship certain gods that certain people in previous seasons have worshipped, maybe. I don't know. I won't be heavy-handed.
I'm just wondering if because I would expect the Aufblitzen to be Pelorians.
A lot generally. Of them are, but there are probably even more Oberonians, just because there are more elves. But there are Pelorians, Oberonians. Somebody one time managed to like pull off being a Karenite for like a half of a campaign, and then they were found out and they got court-martialed, and it was really weird, but they pulled it off for a little bit.
Yeah, that's illegal. I sort of glance back at Kamina being like, is this okay? And I say to the thing, I say, we're representatives of the lawful governing authority of this district in the name of Pelor and by the authority vested in me by the Elven Empire and in the name of the great emperor, I ask you to please stop whatever gnarly stuff you're doing here and cut it out.
And Kamina walks over as he says that and walks around behind the guy and says, "Say, with some sharp armor like that, you could go places. You and I should talk."
The figure leans its head back and begins to laugh and says, "Oh, peons mucking about.
Don't be so hard on yourself."
The head kind of turns to you, and you see a hand reach out in your direction. Make me a dexterity saving throw.
To high-five it?
No, not quite.
Okay. Dex saving throw. Okay.
When Bobo was talking, he was just basically going through the script that his training would have taught him.
The Miranda rights type of deal.
He was giving,
Nice. 15, yeah. You go flying backwards 20 feet, and you tumble and are prone, and you take about 40 points of bludgeoning damage as what feels like a tidal wave of energy just rips you in a violent tumble along the ground for about 40 feet, and you're prone.
I run after Kamina.
I get up.
And you see this thing turn towards the two of you, and it says,
I recognize the authority of no god here, but me.
and when he says me, you feel this shaking, tremoring feeling in your guts. Kamina?
I get up, dust myself off, and say, "What's the big idea? Just who the hell do you think I am? I'm Kamina!" And pull my sword.
And I say, Pearl, I think we need backup. Backup, Pearl, we need backup.
Yeah, you hear a
10-4, good buddy. I'm on the way.
and you hear a distant thump, 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 and you realize it might be a couple of rounds before Pearl effectively joins the fight. But
Sorry, and as I said that, I used my thaumaturgy cantrip to make my voice really loud and mimic the effect of his voice.
Okay, very good.
Just telling you.
Okay, so everybody roll for initiative.
Man, my rolls are awful today.
8. I have an 8.
Okay.
I have a 9.
Okay.
That's with all my bonus stuff.
Okay.
I have rolled below a 5, like, I don't know, 50% of the time I've rolled.
Nice. Okay, so yeah, this thing points a hand at you, Bobo, as you run towards Kamina, and it blasts this energy beam at you. Make me a dexterity saving throw. As this
I love
wall
those.
of force travels at you.
And can I just tell you that I have a trait where what is it called? Hold on, I've got it.
Like lightning reflexes where you get advantage to your dexterity-based saving throws?
Yes.
Do it.
No. I have sorry, I can't find it. It's actually for spells. It's where if I have a dexterity saving throw, then and it would be to take half damage, and I succeed, I take no damage. And if I fail at it, instead of taking full damage, I take half damage. So if this is a spell, I think I have that.
Yeah,
and
go for it.
Here's a quick retcon that doesn't matter. It won't affect anything adversely. But when I said that, just who the hell do you think I am? That kind of speech is Kamina's version of Bardic
Inspiration.
And he's given Bobo Bardic Inspiration.
So add a D8 or a D10 or what?
A D10.
Okay. Matt, add a D10 to your save.
Okay.
A D10 anytime you want in the next 10 minutes.
Oh boy. I want it now because I'm trying to dodge this bolt of lethal energy.
Go for it.
More than a bolt. This looks like a wave that is literally churning forwards towards you.
So that's going to be 26.
Yeah, you basically kind of form a wedge shape, and this wave splits and breaks around you, and it bears down upon you, and you feel, if it were anything less than branches that were, designed by nature to withstand a hurricane, it would strip you clean. But
it's called
you hold fast.
The class feature is called evasion.
Yeah. You managed to do a flip above it. You managed to, twirl and flip over it.
Nice.
Using kung fu, flip and twirl. And let's see here. Yeah, Kamina, it is your turn. Uh-oh, you're muted, Sir Robert.
Sorry, give me 1 sec. I've got some loud background noise.
Who doesn't?
Fair enough. All right, we'll just deal with it here. It'll stop in a sec.
Sure.
I cast... You know what? Just for giggles, let's cast...
Oh, you know what, Josh?
What?
Hold on. Another quick retcon. I have something called unarmored movement improvement, which allows me to move along vertical surfaces during my move.
Okay.
So I ran up out of the
We've
hole.
incorporated a little bit.
Go on,
Oh, you had already.
When I got out of the hole, I actually just ran up the side. No problem.
The sides were kind of nowhere to be touched. This was
never mind then.
Shaft of earth. There was like open void space and whatnot around you.
Okay, never mind then.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, it's okay. It's okay. You and I envisioned that very differently, and it's been a struggle to get on the same page. Sorry.
All right.
Go ahead.
I cast Fireball.
Excellent. Okay. So he needs to make a DC 18 evasion?
Yeah. And the method of casting of that, let's call it somatic and verbal component.
Yeah.
Is Kamina waves his sword various kinds of ways and says things like, "Now you'll feel the burning heat of our fighting spirit combined," and points his sword, and the fireball comes out of the end of the sword because the sword is kind of a focus.
Bobo gets behind Kamina and does like the other half of the special move.
Nice.
So that they match each other.
Nice.
And let's see. 36 damage.
Okay.
And because it was a spell, battle magic, when you use your action, I guess it's a bard spell since I can cast it. You can make one weapon attack as a bonus, so I'm going to do that.
Okay.
And
so the fire erupts out of it, and then you bring it swinging around in an arc and slashing down on this figure.
That's right. So the fireball hits him, and then I follow up with the same sword for another attack with a 12. Does it hit?
The sword comes down on this shining exterior, the shining surface of this thing, and you see sparks fly, and you hear a kind of this weird energy sound, and your sword kind of seems to, it's like it's cutting through something that's drying rapidly as you cut into it. Your sword is being held onto, and you kind of pull it loose, and you see that it's kind of scattered across the surface of this thing.
Fair enough. So that's my turn.
Okay. That is Bobo.
Awesome. So I seeing that Kamina is attacking, I'm going to let out my like primal yell.
Okay.
And I'm going to use my I'm not actually, I should know how this works, and I'm very sorry, but I get I can use my action to do 2 attacks.
Yep.
And then I have something called Flurry of Blows that says after you take the attack action on your turn, you can spend 1 key point to make 2 unarmed strikes as a bonus action.
Yep.
So I think that what that means is I get 2 attacks on my attack and then 2 more on my bonus action.
Yep. So 4 attacks total. Wail away.
Here comes some attacks.
Okay.
That's going to be 4 plus 8 is 12.
Does not
Probably misses. Here comes a natural 20 plus 8 is 28. Plus I get, do I get to roll double the dice?
That's right. Double your damage dice.
So that's going to be
4d6 so far.
17 damage on
17
that
damage. Okay.
On the second punch. Here comes punch number 3. How is a 19?
That hits.
That's going to be a crunchy and delicious 15 points of damage.
Excellent.
Punch number 4 is coming here, and that is going to be a 24.
That hits.
To attack with 9 points of damage. And then I have a thing called it is called sorry. It is called Drunken Technique. Whenever I use Flurry of Blows, which is what I just used, I gained the benefit of the disengage action, and my walking speed increases by 10 feet.
Nice.
So I run in and I hit him 4 times, and that costs me 1 key point. But in addition to that, the extra 2 attacks, I also get to run away from him again, and I run back to Kamina, I run like out of range. So on my attacks, generally, I'm going to run up, punch, run away again, so that I'm not right there.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, you run up and you land just a flurry, just and you see you do even more damage just by a bit than the fireball. Not that I'm trying to promote competition or rivalry among my players or anything. And you see this guy, as you punch him with the very last key punch, you hear this resounding bell gong kind of sound, and you see him go flying backwards, and he kind of phase shifts, and you don't see him anymore. Anybody who wants to make me a Arcana or Religion check.
Religion.
Okay.
5.
Okay. He done disappeared. Done RUNNOFT.
Can't hear you, Sir Robert. Sorry.
Got a 6.
Nice. He also appears to have disappeared. So the figure is gone, and you guys are standing there with your knuckles out, and there is a road that goes deep into the forest. Anybody who, and there's a road that goes before you into the forest.
Kamina slaps Bobo on the back and throws his head back and says, "Ha ha! I knew it. He couldn't stand up to the might of our fighting spirit."
He sure couldn't, Kamina.
Let's go find, I don't know, whatever there is to find.
Let's go.
So our 2 intrepid heroes charge forward down the path through the woods.
And wait.
As you travel.
And as we do that, sorry,
yep.
I'm going to cast Cure Wounds on myself.
Okay.
Just because I got hurt for a lot of damage at one point.
Okay.
Which is this one I'll do?
Yeah, I was going to say, after a few moments, Pearl does, in fact, show up with your suits. They're kind of walking with her. And so the 5 of you just kind of are standing around in the clearing.
Great.
It's like a bit of a, just an opening in the path.
And I jump into my suit. Sorry, what, Matt?
I get into my suit as well, but while doing so, I relate to Pearl what just happened.
Okay.
Well, the brass did tell us that this was going to be hot, heavy, and confusing.
And as he hears Bobo recount it to Pearl, Kamina says, "I don't remember that. But what also happened was this guy in armor." And then Kamina recounts a completely different story.
Nice. Pearl looks at you and says,
Interesting.
And seems to be more wowed and awed and taken in by Kamina's account. So as you guys travel down the road, do you do anything else besides cast Cure Wounds and such?
Not me.
Okay. So as you guys travel down the roadway...
do I still have a werewolf with me?
No,
Pearl took care of it.
No, remember you guys went into a trance, and then when you came out of the time travel trance, for lack of a better term, it wasn't there. So you don't know how much time passed while you were out of it.
How much time did pass? Is it nighttime? You said it was
it was dusk before. It does not appear that a significant amount of time has passed. It's not like the moon is in a significantly different position, or that it's way darker.
I say to Pearl, what happened to my werewolf that I caught?
Oh, he managed to break free and run off. I was too busy guarding the whole perimeter.
Okay.
Wasn't watching him like a hawk. You said you had him tied up.
I thought I did.
Well, let's go.
So what's the marching order?
It'd probably be tough for anybody to get in front of Kamina.
Yeah, Kamina is definitely first.
That's fair. So As you guys are traveling, the forest floor begins pretty quickly to get real rocky, and the trees start getting sparser as the soil gets thinner, looser, rockier, and pretty quickly you're beginning to work your way up in elevation just a bit, and you see that you're kind of walking first into a bit of a gulch, and then there's a full-on valley with kind of cliff walls up on either side of you. And as you travel along down the valley of the floor of this valley, everybody make me a perception check to see exactly what it is that you notice.
Oh, gee wizards. Natural 1.
Nice. Bobo is saying 8. Yep. The two of you are just determinedly and with great resolve marching forward. And Pearl, on the other hand, behind all of the two of you yahoos with a slightly higher vantage point, points her head up into the left at the cliff, the top of the cliff face, and says,
"Boy, you two boys sure are brave, but I'd open my eyes if I were you. You're walking right into enemy fire."
And she indicates her head up into the left, and you see a bunch of cloaked figures with longbows that are kind of leaning against rocks and everything. But now that you stare at them, you can see them.
Oh, have they got longbows? Is that what they've got?
Well, at least they look like bows, and they appear to be enormous. They look to be the size of longbows.
How far away are they?
They're about 120 feet, maybe 140. You're just out of bow shot.
And are they okay? So they're not quite. Are they pointing the bows at us, like that kind of thing?
They appear to be leaning up against the rocks.
I stand in between Kamina and the figures with the bows.
Okay, so you step out front.
That's all I do.
Okay.
I say, Kamina, they've got bows. Don't worry about it. I've got this.
Thanks, pal. And Kamina is going to try to shout loudly with his thaumaturgy and intimidate them into laying down their arms.
Okay.
Thaumaturgy for making his voice boom up and get really far to them. Hey, you boyers.
Do you have a kind of spell that you could use that affects a group of people? Do you have like charm person that you can cast at a higher level, or do you have, prismatic spray or something, or enchant any kind of spell at all?
I think he just wants to talk to them.
Yeah, I was just going to talk to them.
You're just going to try to convince them to lay down their arms. Okay, go for it.
Yeah, just because that's Kamina's way.
Sure.
And so I try to do that.
Are you making this a persuasion or an intimidation?
Intimidation.
Okay, go for it.
I help him with my intimidating pose.
Okay.
Okay. Let me roll that second die. Oh, that was a natural 20, so 35.
35.
35.
It's my anime posing that helps.
The two of you strike into synchronous pose, and the effect combined with the thaumaturgy, it's not just the voice that amplifies. There are flashes of light.
Yeah, there's lens flares.
There's lens flares. There's ground. There's the earth shakes.
Kamina
Our theme song
fighting
erupts
spirit
from the speakers.
Yeah. It's some sort of incredibly dramatic, incredibly powerful music just kind of begins to swell up out of you in the ambient atmosphere. And there's a lightning strike that flashes across the sky. And these dwarves look at each other, and you see them just kind of peel off and turn and run. And you hear the sound of footfalls for a little bit. The sound doesn't carry down the edge of the cliff, but for a minute you hear them all scurrying off.
I say, Kamina, we should try and catch one of those burly gnomes to figure out what's going on here.
Good idea.
And I start running after them.
That was a striking pose, by the way, Bobo.
Thank you, Kamina.
And they're about how far away?
So you're You're running down the valley floor. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
They're about how far away?
They are about 140 feet away and up about a 60-foot cliff face.
I'm
Okay.
running after them, and I can run up the cliff face. I could take the dash action and go 100 feet, and some of that 100 feet can be directly up the cliff face.
I
Okay.
cast Dimension Door and appear in front of one of them.
Oh, okay. How far allow you to travel?
Up to 500 feet in a straight line.
Okay, so basically, here's what happens. Pearl starts lumbering forwards down the path, and you, Bobo, begin running up the thing, running up the cliff face. And just as you run up behind one of them, Communist steps out in front of one of them, and you guys are towering over and have effectively pinned down one of these hooded, cloaked figures.
And Kamina, what's the height difference? What's my mech's height versus his height? Can I pick him up?
Can you pick
the dwarf guy up?
Yeah, gosh, yes.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely you can.
I'm gonna try to pick him up by the hood.
Okay, make me an attack roll to try to just make contact with him.
What does an attack roll mean exactly?
Yeah, so just basically make me a grapple check. You're a size bigger, so roll me. You've got a +5 strength with this thing, so roll me 5 plus your proficiency bonus plus a d20 roll.
Okay. That is a not natural 20.
Okay, you snatch this figure up, and you see the cloak fall back from his head. And you are looking at the face of a species that you have never seen before, but you have seen pictures of in books. You are looking at a dwarf, and you are holding some physical being, humanoid, in your hand that looks like a dwarf. And there's a lot of indoctrination and teaching in schools and commonly held beliefs that are very simple facts about reality that are being challenged right now as you look at this thing.
I say, Kamina, somebody has dressed up this bodybuilding gnome so that it looks just like a dwarf.
And Kamina picks up the guy and holds him in front of the mech face so that Kamina's real face is face to face with the guy and says, and he's intimidated, right? Still.
Yeah.
And Kamina says, "I'm not sure what you are, little man, but I'd like some answers now."
And you see him begin cursing at you in this deep guttural language. You get the sense that he is saying nasty, aggressive things to you through coughs and splutters and grunts and sounds that you're not familiar with. Does anyone speak Dwarven?
No.
Okay.
Kamina, I say we should take him back to base.
That sounds like a good plan, Bobo. And I also
It doesn't seem like there's anything down here that Pearl cannot take care of, militarily wise. I think the best use of our time is to get this captive back to our commanders.
I agree with you, Bobo. It does seem like the best thing would be to show our commanders our prowess.
Nice. So Pearl kind of nods at you guys. You guys are having this conversation at the edge of the cliff, and Pearl can hear you. And Pearl says,
I can hold down the basically log jam the way here. They seem to want to be coming and going, so I'll make sure there's a full stop to all traffic. You boys just report back as quick as you can. Don't think I'm going to go easy on them. I'm adding every single one of these.
and you notice on her arm, the tally has been updated, much to your chagrin. But I think that will be a good place to stop. You guys take this guy and you bring him back to the field, and you activate a beacon, and you see a enormous object come, get bigger and bigger and come flying down. And at the last second, it kind of seems to suddenly decelerate, and it lands to the ground with a thud. And there's this kind of arcane discharge of energy. And you see that there is a little disc on top, and floating on that disc is what looks like, some sort of arcane representation of your commanding officer, who is a old, wizened elf. And he says,
Bobo, Kamina, report.
Well, Commander, you're not going to believe what Bobo was able to do. He basically single-handedly took on every foe in the valley. I was there, of course, cheering him on, but what more was there to do? Pearl helped a little bit. She killed a few enemies, and each time she did, she makes 10 little strange marks for each time she kills a bad guy. I don't know what it's about.
But it is an ancient and understood practice. It should not be confusing.
And you see him kind of recalm himself. He gets flustered when Kamina gets into the kind of the details and the frou-frou and the fluff. But go ahead.
And Kamina just makes sure he points out again that she marks 10 marks every time she kills one.
You see a vein begin to throb on his head.
And he says, but, oh, right, also, we found this strange little man. And still in his mech, right? And he holds him up and says, we think he might be some sort of magical gnome that uses some kind of body enhancement. We're not sure.
Send him up immediately.
And by
Should I just throw him?
No, I was going to say, Kamina, know absolutely that by send him up, what he means is use one of the hooks of recall. And so you reach into kind of an emergency kit that seems to be built into a standard place on this pallet that is dropped, and you pull out quite literally a hook, and you get some straps and you kind of throw them around the guy and you hook him to it, and you activate the magic item, and you watch this guy go rocketing up into the sky in a straight line, disappearing into some clouds, presumably on a trajectory to intercept the ship, because that's what the magic item does, is it hooks you back up to the ship. You see that there are 4 more in the pack. Hooks, yes. And you are told to make camp for the night, secure a perimeter around the supply pallet, and await instructions from the brass. And that is where we will come back to the action, is in the open field with our heroes encamped around a supply pallet, making camp and securing perimeter and waiting for orders from on high, commanding brass of the Aufblitzen to assess and neutralize the threat to the Empire. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you will join us for part 2 of our Aufblitzen saga. Stay tuned next week, and remember, failure is beautiful, but victory is delicious.